Italy give France a hell of a scare in rainy Parma. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Bourdon opened the scoring in this one for France from the tee after Regioni got pinged 3-0 to France after about, I think it was about 7 minutes. Manager then makes a break for France, looking dangerous. She had a fairly good game, but then Solari managed to get in there, turn it over for Italy, and then Bartomeu gets pinged at the ruck, so it's penalty to Italy. They go up the line with that, but it comes to nothing. France then come back at them, but again, move breaks down. Manager knocks this one on, but France actually win a penalty from the resulting scrum, one of many that they got today. They point to the post, but Bourdon misses the kick. We're still at 3-0. France then get pinged for offside. Italy decide to go up the line. They manage to retain possession. We have a good carry from Franco, and then Scorbini makes a break, and they work it close to the line, recycle it quickly, and Franco drives over to score. Is converted by Solari. Italy hit the front 7-3. France, though, they hit back immediately. They decide to spread it with penalty advantage for an infringement by Italy at a maul, but they don't need the advantage. Manager comes on the switch, goes close, then Bourdon gets it out quickly and puts Bernier over. Conversion is missed, but it's 8-7 to France. Before, kind of in the build-up to the try as well, France's scrum just kind of marched Italy backwards as well, and it was kind of the story of the day in the scrum. Like France completely dominant there. But after that, then we didn't have a yellow card to Bourgeard for a high hit on Dinka. So it was shoulder to head, but there was mitigation because Dinka basically changed her height and direction. So as she was getting tackled, she kind of stopped and then kind of ducked a little bit and tried to kind of, duck under the tackle. But I think it was fair. The yellow card was fair. So France down to 14, but they actually managed to stretch their lead. Italy, they have a defensive line out. It goes wrong, ends up in a scrum to France. From the scrum, then they spread it. There's a hard line from Bernier, fixes the defense under the post, commits 2 tacklers. Then they get it out again, and Abes manages to get on the outside of Muzo and goes over to score a debut try for her. Really nice move from France there, and some decent dummy runners as well, keeping the defence honest. Bourdon adds the extra. We're at 15-7, and that was the half-time score in this one. But, there were encouraging signs from Italy in the first half, but when France did get it right, they couldn't keep them out. There were a lot of handling errors in the first half and kind of continued on into the second half. Like, it was very slippery conditions and not really kind of, ideal for the running rugby that the teams are trying to play. Italy, though, they get themselves the first score of the second half. Scorbini goes close, but is driven back by some stout defence from France. Maris then picks and drives to within a metre. Stefan then picks from the back of the ruck. She steps close to the line, fixes the defenders, and then puts Dinka in the corner. The touchline conversion is missed, but it's 15-12. Italy within touching distance of France. Like, this kind of thing shouldn't really happen in women's rugby. Like, in the Women's Six Nations, it's always been a case that England are the best team, France are then the next best team, and then there's a massive gulf to everyone else. But we can see that some of the teams below them are actually beginning to reap the benefits of having now a professional program and beginning to close the gap. Italy then, they are on the attack off the back of a decent scrum, but Manuzzi she gets tackled and rolls the second time, so it's a penalty, and France are able to clear. They work themselves upfield. Bernier on the burst. Looks like she's going to score in the corner, but then there's 3 Italians are able to bundle her into touch. Italy, though, then make a mess of the defensive line out. It gets about 5 minutes out. France managed to get themselves over the line, but to get held up. Bit of a let off for Italy there. France then come back again, but Franco manages to get over the ball to win a penalty, and Italy can clear. Merlier then gets pinged for offside, and Italy get a chance to get themselves back into the French half. They haven't really, been up that end of the pitch much since they scored that try. And it's kind of crucial at this stage that they offer some kind of threat, as they have been absorbing a lot of pressure. And if they don't kind of, have some kind of pressure going the other way themselves, it's going to tell, I feel, in the long run. But then their line out isn't straight. That was a problem for them for a lot of the game. France then marching forward in the scrum. The ref, they went forward about maybe 5 or 6 meters. Then ref tells Bourdon to use it, but she actually leaves it in the scrum. They go another couple of meters, and the Italian side of the scrum starts to buckle. So then they get the penalty. France, though, when they go up the line, they actually knock it on in the slippery conditions. And I'm feeling at that stage, if Italy can survive this period and get themselves upfield, the shock win is still on for them. But we have a period where Italy are kicking the ball clear. France run it back at them. They either knock it on or Italy get in there and turn it over. And then Italy kick it clear again. And then we rinse and repeat. And, it must be very, tiring for the Italians just to have to keep going through that. And, every time they keep France out, but then they come back. Italy then not straight again at a line out. Another scrum to France. Again, they win the penalty. At the scrum, they kick it to the corner. They decide to go to the front this time because their line out hasn't been great for them either. Today, they get some one-out runners working their way in field. Then they go back out to where the line-out was, and Bourgeard does well to finish in the corner. Tremelier converts from out wide. It actually hits the inside of the post and goes over, but we're at 22-12, and you feel at that stage that should be the game to France. Italy do, though, like in the last few minutes, come looking for a score that would get them a losing bonus point. For I felt that their efforts really deserved that today. France knock on at the restart. Italy got a great attacking position. Rigoni does well on the burst initially, but then in contact she knocks on. France clear that one. France then win a penalty at a late scrum with the clock in the red. They're kind of debating what to do. Then they decide, the bonus point win is actually on now. They're going to give it one last go. So they kick it up the line to try and go for that bonus point. The line out actually isn't straight. But because the clock is already in the red, but because we haven't restarted the game isn't actually over yet. So we have to have the scrum. And scrum kind of goes a bit messy, and that's the end of the game. Okay, so let's actually have a look at some of the stats from the game. We weren't able to for the games yesterday, but today the Six Nations seem to have gotten their act together, and we do actually have stats available on the website after the game. So possession was 46% to Italy, 54% to France. Then territory was 39-61. So France with a lot of the ball and in the Italian half, and a lot of that was in that second half period where, as I said, Italy were clearing the ball, but not out of their own half, and then France were coming back at them. And I think that kind of period of the game was where France they got that score then to put a bit of daylight between the teams, and it was very hard then for Italy to get themselves in any kind of position really to respond from there. In terms of clean breaks, then we had 2 from Italy and 4 from France. Turnovers won 8-2 in favour of Italy. Italy were so good at the breakdown, getting over the ball when France were in good positions and either winning the penalty or just turning over and being able to clear themselves. Number of tackles then, sorry, give me a second here. Yeah, number of tackles was 159 for Italy, 117 for France. So although Italy made a lot more tackles, generally, like in terms of the numbers, you'd probably expect them to be even higher compared to what France had to do. So it shows that Italy did produce some periods of pressure themselves, especially in that first half. Tackle percentage then was 88% for Italy, 89% for France, which is decent for both of them. Like in the men's Six Nations, you'd probably see kind of similar as well. So gone are the days when in women's rugby, you would just see people falling off tackles left, right, and centre. I think it is becoming much more comparable to the men's game now. In terms of handling errors, then we had 19 from Italy and 28 from France. Like the very slippery conditions, the ball at times is like a bar of soap, and then you had 2 teams really pushing their play as well, trying to go for offloads and trying to push the passes as well at times, and it didn't really help Italy. There were 2 big things for them today. One, obviously, handling errors from either team resulted in a scrum, and then France were winning penalties at the scrums, whoever's feet it was. So Italy getting a scrum because France knocked on didn't really help them. And then the second thing was they had a few lines today that weren't straight, which would result then in scrums to France, who would then win the penalty and kick up field. So you went from potential attacking lineup for Italy to an attacking lineup for France. In terms of then the team, so for Italy, what an effort from them today. And it looks like on this weekend showing that it's probably going to be between themselves and Wales for 3rd place. But next up for them is the daunting task of tackling an amazing England team. For France, they got themselves out of a sticky situation there with a win in the end. Scrum was a real weapon. The lineup was poor for them though, and they'd be looking to put that right against Ireland next time out.